you doing? I'm excited to be here with all of you and do a redo to the miscarriage training that had one too many hiccups the last time we did this. As you can see, I'm solo. The last time I did this, I was with my associate, Lonika, and today I am doing it solo. So, and that's okay. We're going to share all the same information. You just get to hear it from me instead of from both of us. So I'm going to give everyone a little bit of time to join in. Let everybody take a moment to catch up and get onto the feed so we can give them everything they want. And I'm going to go grab my presentation. Let's see here. Perfect. Beautiful. There we go. Awesome. So here we are. So everybody, as we join, please say hello. Let me know where you're joining from, like I love to do with everybody. As always, I see a bunch of names. I do see some comments that were there from the beginning. That's fine. Just know that I'm going to answer questions at the end. So I want to make sure that I get through all of my information. And so I'm going to answer questions towards the end of it. And that way we can make sure that we get through all the information. I can see that everything's working fine. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm seeing comments. Amber Lynn says she's pregnant right now. Congratulations, Amber Lynn. So excited for you. That's really awesome. I'm gonna, just because I love it, I'm gonna pop it up on the screen and say congratulations. And we've got some beautiful questions. CW says she's joining from Atlanta. Awesome, love Atlanta. I'm from the South myself. And then we've got someone from Finland. Finland, I love it. And we've got Tanya from London. All over the world. It's so awesome. So we've got people joining from all over the world: Nigeria, Sweden, and then from Finland. It's great. This is wonderful, wonderful. I'm so excited that you all are here, that you're joining. Namibia, how beautiful is that? Australia must be really early or really late for you, one of those in Australia. Pakistan, look, we've got people from all over the globe because this information is so valuable, so important, and really meaningful to all of you, right? There's a lot at stake when we're pregnant. There's so much that we need to know and understand. And so we can tell that by everybody joining from all over, Slovakia, South Africa. Really, it shows you how valuable this information really is, and how much we really need it. So I'm happy to have you all here. I'm excited that you all are with me and that we can share this important information with you. I'm going to be just some housekeeping things. I want you all to go grab, if you don't already have, grab a cup of water or tea. I want you to make sure that you've got a pen, a little paper, something to take notes on. And additionally, for all of you who are not aware or haven't already registered, if you register, then you're going to get my workbook that has compiled all this information into it, into a nice, easy to focus on way. And in addition to that, you're going to get it straight into your email box. So I want to make sure that you guys go ahead and register. If you're not already registered, you've got to do that at marksklar.com/miscarriage. It is already posted in the comment section, but high up. And I want you all to go ahead and do that if you haven't already done that. All right. Give me 1 second here just to see what's going on. Okay, beautiful. All right, there's the link again. My assistant is on it. I appreciate that. So give me 1 second here. All right. Okay, so let's get started. I can see that we've got a fair number of you here joining. We've got everyone seems to be ready and joining from the world at large, including someone from planet Earth. Could you imagine that, from planet Earth? So, okay, make sure you are registered so you can get that workbook, and let's get started. My goal is to get through this material in about an hour's time. We might go a little bit over, and that's okay. And I'm just gonna do this. So give me 1 second to get it started. There we go. Awesome. All right. So that's the topic, right? How to avoid a miscarriage. We want to get some really useful information so that we can know what the potential causes are and then what we can do about them moving forward. So hopefully we can prevent a miscarriage in the future. And that's really what this is all about. So if you're here because you've already had a miscarriage, then I want to just reach out to you and just let you know that I'm really sorry to hear that. It's unfortunate, it's difficult, and it's hard to move on from. You know, I just got off from a coaching call with a patient who's had 2 unfortunate back-to-back. And, you know, she's got all these emotions pent up now. She's worried, she's stressed, she's having nightmares because it's such a tragic experience for all of us. And it's difficult to move on from. So we're hoping to get some answers, obviously, for her, hopefully for all of you, and really be able to support you through this process. And I saw a bunch of comments here of patients who were, or followers who are here right now. Someone just said, you know, 4 weeks back, she just miscarried, which is so unfortunate. So let's try and get into some of this information. And the only good news about having a miscarriage is that you already got through the first step, which is often the hardest, which is getting pregnant. And now we want to make sure that you don't have another miscarriage. And if you've not had a miscarriage or you're here to prevent it, then I think that's awesome. We want to hopefully provide that information to get you a healthy, strong pregnancy by preparing your body. All right, so before we start, I want all of you to turn off all of your distractions, close down the Facebook feed, turn off your phone or put it on silent. You know, now is the time for us to focus on this material because this material is really important. And I've packed this hour full of value for all of you. And this training can really make a huge difference between getting pregnant next month or not, hopefully preventing a miscarriage as well. So I want you to be able to focus and be present here. So if you're ready to focus, ready to be here, then I want you to type into the chat box 100% here or ready, whatever it is, but let me know that you're ready by chatting in the chat box and letting me know. And while you guys are all doing that, because I haven't seen any comments yet, I'm waiting for them. There we go. We got the first one. Awesome. I want you all to know that I want you to stick around to the end because I'm going to be, each slide, each phase of this presentation is really jam-packed with information, and we want to improve things. And we also want to get to the root cause. Look, there we go. Ready, 100%. I love it. And so I want you guys to take a moment to think about this, right? If you knew it all already, if you were doing it all right, if what you were doing was working, you wouldn't need me, you wouldn't be here, you'd be on your way with a healthy pregnancy, and you wouldn't be reaching for more information. So I want you guys to empty your cup, okay? Not physically, but in your brain, and let it be open to receiving new information, okay? We want new information. And that's what all of these women did. All of these women were ready to receive new information, ready to move forward, to achieve their pregnancies. And I want the same thing for all of you, okay? And that's really what we're striving for. So on this training, you're gonna learn the causes and potential risks of a miscarriage. You're more about your body and what we're calling the miscarriage wheel right now, and how to be a fertility detective to avoid miscarriage in the future. And you're also going to learn the 6 steps to fertility and a healthy pregnancy. So hopefully you all are ready. And by the comments, it definitely seems that way. If you see me look down, I've got another computer here, and that's what I'm looking at, is all your comments. So that's what I'm checking out. Okay, so if you stay until the end, I'll be answering all of your questions at the end of this training. So you can go ahead and put them in the comment section. But what I would suggest, so that they don't get lost, is just hold on to them, write them down, and then when I'm ready to take questions, just pop them in there. Plus, you'll also get a chance to apply to work with us as your fertility coaches and have an opportunity to save money in the process to do that. Reminder for all of you watching from YouTube who have not already registered, I want you to register so you can get my workbook, my training, which will come to you in an email after the training. And you can do that by going to marksklar.com/miscarriage. And you will have those links in there. All right, this training is for you if you've spent hours researching on Google researching with your friends, asking your friends and family, looking at books to find out what's the best way to approach things, and things haven't been working out for you. If you've had a miscarriage or you're afraid of having one and want to avoid it, then definitely this is the right place for you. And if you've been trying for longer than you'd really like, which often for many of us it is the case, and no matter how long you've been trying for, this isn't, things aren't helping, there's very little clarity, and you don't know what to do next, then for sure you're in the right place, okay? But this might not be the right place for you right now, and you might want to save your time and go elsewhere if you're looking for a magic pill to help you get pregnant yesterday, because there are no such things. And if you don't want to get pregnant, then for sure you're in the wrong place, which I would assume is none of you. And if you don't believe you can be a mom, this is a key piece, because if you're not believing in yourself, in your own body, and your body's ability to conceive and carry a pregnancy, then we need to change that mentality. You're also in the wrong place if you're not willing to do what it takes to give your body what it needs in order to have a healthy pregnancy. And if you're getting mad at me for giving you 60 minutes, probably more than 60 minutes, of my best time and advice on how to get pregnant on your own so you can create a fertility plan, then definitely you're in the wrong place, which I would assume is none of you. For those who don't know me, I am Dr. Marc Sklar, also known as the fertility expert. You might have seen me on YouTube, as we are watching right now, for some of you, on my fertility TV station. And my team and I are natural fertility experts, helping couples just like all of you from all over the world get pregnant with our coaching programs and our fertility programs. And I want to tell you a little bit more about my team and I. I'm going to start with me, okay? During my medical training, I helped my brother and his wife get pregnant, and they actually had 2 sets of twins. But before I did that, the first patient I ever helped get pregnant had PCOS, and it took about 5 months. And she had her little baby girl, Faith, and I helped her again after that with another. I opened up 2 clinics here in San Diego. We were getting such great success rates, well, with my first one, and which is why I opened up my second one. And I started being contacted from people all over the world, just like you, to see if I can help them have the same results. And that's really how all of this started. And really my YouTube channel didn't start purposely to grow in the way it did. It was somewhat organic, and by accident, I created videos for all of my patients so that I can give you the information that I was saying all the time and make things easier for you and for me. And, 5 years later, I've got a channel with almost 110,000 subscribers, putting out all sorts of amazing videos for all of you. So first and foremost, when it comes to this, I want to thank all of you, because if it wasn't for all of you watching my videos, I wouldn't keep doing them. And you are also the ones who are the inspiration and the spark for the topics that I create, like this video right here that we're doing right now. So I appreciate all of you. And that's how I started working with couples from all over the world to coach them through their fertility journey. And that's how my online program started, and everything kind of exploded from there, which has been awesome. And that's how I met these amazing women to help all of them. All of these testimonials and stories are on my website. So after this presentation, if you want to check out some of them, you absolutely can. Many of them had miscarriages as well. And we helped them move forward and get the results that they were looking for. So my teammate, an associate who is not here right now, but the last time I did this presentation, she was right here next to me. Her name is Lonika. And so when you work with me and my team, or you're choosing my team, then that's who you're choosing to work with, is the beautiful woman with the heart around her face. And she provides so much support. All her patients love her. And she's normally with me doing some of these trainings, but today she's not. So our favorite moms to be are all of you, really. But we tend to work the most with women who are over 35, who just found out that they're considered advanced maternal age or geriatric, which is a terrible term, right? And you hear that miscarriages happen more to older women. And so that's why we have a big population of couples that we coach who are over 35. Also, obviously, who are over 40, because for the same reasons, in this case, they've just been told that their eggs are too old, unfortunately. A big population of couples have been told that they don't know why that they can't get pregnant, or they're having a miscarriage, that it's unexplained. And that's unfortunate, because I'm sure all of you can understand that this is that there is a cause, there is a reason for everything that the body does. And because of that, I don't believe that there's such a thing as unexplained infertility. I believe that it's unexplained because we haven't looked in the right place, or asked the right questions, or found the right answers. And that's what I hope to and often do for patients. And we often also see really complicated, complex patients who have multiple things going on, which have led to their miscarriages as well. Similarly here, before she got pregnant with us, she had been trying for 6 years, had 2 miscarriages, and really didn't know what was going on. But we were able to figure it out for her. And again, you can watch this video just for time purposes. I'm not going to go through it, but all these videos are on my website under the, all these testimonials, I should say. So just so you all know, and I'll get into it later on in, in the presentation, is that to work with me and Lonika, you've got to apply. You need to apply to qualify to have us as your fertility coaches. I'll definitely tell you a little bit more about it at the end of the training, but I want you to understand that we want to make sure this is the right fit for you and for us. So that's why we have this application process. Okay, let's see here. I pressed on the wrong button. And let's be clear, just like I mentioned before, we don't believe in unexplained infertility, okay? We don't believe that miscarriage is a mysterious thing that happens for unexplained reasons. We don't want you to think that because you're 30 or 35 or 40, you're high risk. We don't want you to think that just one miscarriage is fine, which is often what you're told because it's very common, and that there's nothing that you can do about that. We want you to listen to your body. Your body's telling you something, and we want to listen, pay attention, and then support it for what it needs. So now let's get started. Number one, how to prevent a miscarriage. No matter if you've had a miscarriage or not, if you're trying to conceive, there are things you can do to avoid the risks, right? There is a 15 to 25% chance of a miscarriage in healthy women. And around 80% of miscarriages occur in the first trimester, which is between week 1 and week 14. I know often many of you think that the first trimester ends at week 12, but I truly believe that it ends at week 14 because we're counting from the date of your last period. And we know for those first 2 weeks between period and ovulation that you were for sure not pregnant. So we tack on 2 weeks there, and that's how we get to 14. But for tracking purposes for your pregnancy, it's just easier to track based on the date of your last period, which is why that works that way. The average risk of miscarriage by the age of the mother, right, by how old you are as a mom, is under 35 years old, there's a 15% chance of a pregnancy loss with every pregnancy. And then between 35 and 45, there's between roughly a 20 to 35% chance of a loss. And over 45, there's about a 50% chance of a loss. Now, certainly what that shows you is as we age, we have a higher risk, higher chance of having a miscarriage. And I do believe that when we have just one, our first miscarriage, that we do have to kind of balance that out. And depending on our age, give age or these percentages the benefit of the doubt and try further. It doesn't mean we don't have to start to be proactive about things. It just means that maybe this is not the time for us to get overly concerned. But as we get older or have a second miscarriage or more, then we definitely want to look more. We want to look beyond that because it's often just brushed off and said, well, this just happens so often. So we're just going to keep trying and don't worry, there's nothing else you can do, which is just not true. So this is a little understanding of how the body works and what starts to happen. So we've got your body in the middle. And then here we say, oops, something isn't happening, or your body says, oops, something's not happening right, there's something wrong. And then an important function in the body is not 100% and needs to be protected, right? Something's off and your body's trying to adjust and manage for that. And so your body reacts to protect you. Your immune system reacts to protect you, which is important. And potentially we have a miscarriage. And then we've got this vicious circle. So we want to start to break this cycle and dive deeper to get a better understanding for what is happening, why it's happening, and how and what we can do about it. The reproductive function is not a vital function of the body. So it's the first thing that stops when something else is not working. So we have to find out what that is, fix it, and your body won't feel that it needs to have a miscarriage to save itself. And so the reason why this is important and what we need to understand about this is that we all think that reproduction, having a baby, conception is the most important thing, and rightly so, because that's what we all want to do. But humans, first and foremost, are not efficient at getting pregnant and having children. And two, that the body's most important thing is to take care of you. So getting pregnant is not the most important thing for your body because it's about taking care of you, making sure you're healthy and strong so that you can do all the things you need to do, like survive. Then reproduction can happen, okay? So if something's off, that's important, or your body's under stress, or your immune system is compromised in some way, reproduction, conception takes a back seat because there's other things that are more important to helping you survive, right? So that's how the body starts to prioritize what's important here. And that's how we need to start to get a better understanding and think about this process so that we know how to move forward with what we need to do to support you. Okay. So IVF and miscarriage. I put this here because this is a frequent question that I get. Can IVF stop me from having a miscarriage? And I heard that genetic testing, PGT, is the answer to stopping a miscarriage. Well, first, IVF is not designed, and the majority of IVF clinics are not designed to help you prevent a miscarriage. They're designed to help you get pregnant. That's right. So most clinics don't work to figure out what the cause is of a miscarriage. They just assume most of it is genetic testing, is genetic, so they want to do genetic testing, which adds so much more expense to the process. And they feel that if they transfer a healthy embryo, that you're going to get your successes. But often I see patients transfer healthy, genetically known, tested embryos, and they don't get pregnant, or they do get pregnant and they still miscarry. So that can't always be the solution for everybody. If we know, excuse me, that you have a genetic abnormality and that is causing your miscarriage, then maybe for you, that would be the solution. That would be the path that you go, but it's not 100% accurate or successful. So we do need to think about that. So going through IVF doesn't necessarily prevent a miscarriage. And it certainly would only do it if it knew that the real cause was a genetic issue and nothing more, which is not always the case, as you'll see in just a little bit. And we have to get answers before we jump to that conclusion. Now, I'm not opposed to IVF for some patients, but I want to make sure that we've gotten the right answers first, and we're just not jumping there before we move forward. All right. So 2, the fetus is invading your body. Okay. The baby is a foreign object, and your body doesn't know the difference between it and any other invader, so it reacts. But what happens here is that if your immune system is balanced and working properly, that it's going to recognize that the fetus, the embryo, as a foreign object just temporarily, and as it implants, then it starts to protect it. But if your immune system is not functioning properly, then it can attack it and reject the implantation at some various stage of the pregnancy. So that's really important for us to get a better understanding and handle on, okay? It's also why often patients get sick when they get pregnant. I often would, prior to COVID, I would often think of this as a positive thing, because it would show that everything's working properly. Often I would see many of you'd get pregnant and then you'd catch a cold, right? And you'd be congested and a little bit more run down. That's a sign that everything's working properly, because your immune system is now working to protect the fetus. And so you're more prone to getting sick or catching a virus, right? So that's why that happens. Ooh, I keep pressing the wrong button. Give me one second. I got 2 computers. I keep pressing the button here and not here. Number 3, be a fertility detective. There is always a cause for miscarriage and struggles to get pregnant. We just have to dig deeper for it, right? That couple that I was telling you I was coaching, that I just spoke to before I started this training with all of you, they've done barely any testing, because the doctor just thinks that it's a genetic issue and that we just need to get past that. Now, that may be the case, but we don't know for certain, so why not dig deeper before we just make that assumption, right? So that's where we need to be detectives. So don't take no for an answer. If you want to be a mom, don't let any doctor tell you you can't, and don't accept the typical answer. You need to have 3 miscarriages to have further testing. That's the typical answer we get, right? So ask for help and take action now. I don't believe that anybody should wait to have 3 losses before they get further testing. And so that you all know and are educated, okay, it's that requirement has now changed to 2 miscarriages. So they've lowered it to 2 versus 3, but many OBGYNs still don't follow that. They still follow the 3. So you should be aware of that. All right. So if you've had a miscarriage or want to avoid having one, here are some things that we absolutely need to look at. Do you suffer with or have you had any of these issues? And I'm just going to go through this list, okay? Thyroid issues, a big one. It's at the top because it's often overlooked and ignored. Hormonal imbalances. I had a woman that I'm coaching who I spoke to this morning. who has estrogen imbalances. Her estrogen levels are very low, and she's has very low DHEA and low testosterone. Now, do we know for certain that those are the causes of miscarriage? Not yet, but hormone imbalances can be a contributing factor. So we've got to look at all of those things. Poor cervical mucus, poor adrenal health and adrenal function, low body weight, or obesity. These are big factors, right? Too low of a BMI or too high of a BMI. Other contributing diseases or disorders like diabetes, autoimmune diseases, cancer, premature ovarian failure. Often overlooked is the male side of things, so low sperm count and health. But you might question if that's even a factor in miscarriage, and I'm here to tell you it absolutely is. Certainly injury or trauma to the reproductive organs or the endocrine glands, smoking, alcoholism, drugs, addiction, anything like that is a factor. Hypertension, long-term use of medications, and obviously certain medications you don't want to be on when you're trying to get pregnant, and then heavy exposure to radiation, and then toxic or environmental pollution that you're exposed to. These are all variables that we need to take into account and that you all need to look at as well. Wow, someone's joining from Barbados. How awesome is that? So start writing down your questions because we're going to get to those in just a little bit. Okay, so, and the same thing here. She was looking for more help. She was 35. She needed more answers. And in the end, she got pregnant with twins, which was awesome, right? We want the same thing for all of you. She actually had a thyroid issue that was overlooked until I found it and we started to address it. So keep this in mind, understanding your body as a whole. Your body is a perfect machine where all your systems work together, right? Infertility or miscarriage are just symptoms. So we need to listen to our body. These are not, miscarriage is not a disease. It's a symptom, right? We need to find the cause of it. So if you've had a miscarriage in the past, we need to find out the cause before you get pregnant again. It's much easier to treat and support a healthy pregnancy if we can treat you and strengthen and support your body before you get pregnant, not once you get pregnant. And if you've not had a miscarriage but are struggling to get pregnant and are afraid that it can happen to you, we'll help you to figure out why your body's not letting you get pregnant, and hopefully help you also hold on to a full-term healthy pregnancy. So number 4, bleeding and spotting. What do they mean? Is it okay? And what if I bleed a lot? So it's very, very common to bleed during a pregnancy, okay? Now, there's different types of bleeding that are okay. I prefer just light spotting, but I also prefer that the blood is darker. The brighter the blood, the more cramping or pain, the more of a concern that is. Now, there is one exception. I see this very, very often with patients who we're coaching, is that they will bleed a lot, just like a full menstruation. So they're certain that they're miscarrying, but they're not. When they go into their OB, they're not. The pregnancy is good, the baby's healthy, and everything looks okay, but they have what's called a subchorionic hematoma. They've got bleeding in the uterus where the placenta is attaching to the uterus, and this causes a lot of bleeding. Most cases, this resolves on its own, but it can be a cause for miscarriage. It's something that we definitely need to watch. I definitely see more of this in patients who go through IVF, but I do see it in those who don't as well. Number 5, the 7 steps to natural fertility, preventing miscarriage, and having a healthy pregnancy. So 5 steps, and number 5, we're going to give you 7 more steps. Okay, so number 1, find out the possible causes. The causes listed here are just for those who have had a history of a loss. There are other causes in different ways if you've not been pregnant before, but this presentation is all about miscarriage, so that's what we're focusing on, okay? So immune testing, and I'm going to go through some of the testing in just a minute on a next, I think it's the next or the one after that slide, so just hang tight. So we want to do more testing. So these are all possible causes, and because they're all possible causes, we wanted to do more testing on them, okay? So testing to see if there's anything going on with your immune system. Testing to see if there's any issues with blood clotting, okay? Thyroid panel. We talked earlier about thyroid disease being a potential cause, so we want to get a better understanding for thyroid issues. Obviously, egg quality. If egg quality is a concern, then for sure that can lead to a miscarriage. So we want to support and have healthy, good eggs to be fertilized and create healthy, good embryos. The same thing goes along with sperm quality. Often sperm quality is overlooked and ignored. I want to tell you that 50% of all miscarriages are male factor. That's right. So when your partner says it's the eggs, that's not necessarily the case. The burden falls on both the male and the female here, even if it's a miscarriage, okay? PCOS, those women with PCOS are more likely to have a pregnancy loss. Same thing with obesity, and then obviously genetics. Okay, so here's the testing. These are some of the tests, not all of the tests. Immune testing. We want to do our thyroid antibodies, which are very, very important. So we also want to look at what's often part of a miscarriage panel, which would be lupus, rheumatoid arthritis factors, anti-glycoprotein, and anti-cardiolipin. The other ones are also part of immune factors, but they're not usually part of a recurrent pregnancy loss panel. And that's NK cell, Th1 and Th2 activity, and then anti-nuclear antibodies. These are all important for different reasons and give us different information. And so, you know, the more common ones that I see here, I'll tell you, are thyroid antibodies, the glycoprotein and cardiolipin, and the NK cell. Those are the more common ones that we'll see. Blood clotting factors, anticoagulants, APTT, PAI, factor V, protein C, protein S, prothrombin, factor 13, MTHFR, and von Willebrand's. Von Willebrand's is not as common, and most women who have this already know it because it's a family history, and so genetically they do know this already. Thyroid panel. So in addition to the antibodies I mentioned above, we want to do a full panel. Most doctors will just run TSH or T4. We want to do a more comprehensive thyroid panel so we can see if those are factors. And I should mention that thyroid, if you do have a thyroid issue, thyroid medication does not treat the thyroid antibodies if they're present. They're just treating the TSH usually. So just be aware of that. Egg quality, you know, this is something I talk about often in other presentations: AMH, FSH, LH, inhibin B, DHEA, vitamin D, homocysteine. Sperm quality, a full panel with morphology, and DNA fragmentation as well. And morphology and DNA fragmentation are the most important here when we're talking about pregnancy loss. PCOS, we have to rule this out and treat it if it is there. Obesity, we need to manage BMI numbers and blood sugar. And then in genetics, we want to look at karyotyping, Fragile X, and any other chromosomal abnormalities or issues that might be present. So I know that's a lot, it's a mouthful, but those are the main variables we will need to check. But it doesn't stop there. We want to check every system because the body is connected and everything influences one another. So we need to check, is there inflammation and are there infections that need to be treated? How is your digestive system functioning? Because if you're not digesting things properly, then that takes priority and all the other areas take a back seat. Iron levels, nutrient levels, immune function, which we already talked about. Blood circulation, we kind of talked about as well with the blood clotting factors. Blood sugar, obviously weight. And then we can start to get into more obscure health issues and concerns if that is something in your history as well. But we need to make sure your body is functioning properly and healthy so that everything can be working in unison and reproduction can be moved back up to the top of the list. Number 4 is clean up your diet. I know I harp on this always, but it is so, so important. Cleaning up your diet, eating whole foods, organic all the way, focusing on organic foods, and following what we call an AIP diet. So if you have autoimmune issues, if your immune system is compromised in some way, then your diet needs to be changed and modified to accommodate for that. There are other diet modifications and changes that we can use for the different conditions that I mentioned up here, right? But when we're talking about immune system specifically, then the AIP diet is really important, which is why I'm talking about it here and bringing it up. Now, this is not the diet for all of you watching right now, but it is an important diet, okay? And could be the key for many of you. And so I'm not going to spend a ton of time here, but you can see you're avoiding a lot of things, right? You've got to cut out all these different grains and beans and all these things that we all think of as healthy. We need to kind of back off from. It doesn't mean that they're not healthy. It just means that they might not be the right thing for you. But I want to also let you all know that you all need different labs. Different diet, excuse me, that each one of you, based on your findings and what the causes are, contributing factors, might require something different even within the AIP diet. So there is no one size fits all here, and we need to be mindful of that. Marina just said, I got sick after this diet. Well, that might mean that we need to adjust it specifically for you and modify it a little bit more to make it more appropriate for you. But there are also foods that you enjoy and include, and that list is long. So that's also something for us to be mindful of. Remove toxins, environmental and personal. Get rid of, first and foremost, which is a big one that we often ignore, get rid of the toxic people in your life. Get rid of them so that they don't put any more burden on you. Don't allow their negative energy, especially about fertility, to infiltrate your life. Reduce the time that you spend watching TV and computer and using computers at night, and also what you're exposing yourself to when you're watching those things, right? If you're watching a lot of news and things that are going to stress you out and make you frustrated, now is not the time to watch that. Clean up the toxins in your house and replace them with cleaner options, right? Including cooking products, like pots and pans. They have a lot of chemicals and toxins. We want to get rid of them, okay? You want to use really stainless steel pots and pans as much as possible, because you don't want to use those non-stick pans because they're going to cause problems, as well as all of the other chemical toxins that you might use to clean your house or put on your body as makeup or whatever it is. We need to be mindful of that. So all the beauty products as well. And then review your lifestyle habits. What we are all these are things that we all think about often, but are we really doing them right? So, alcohol is important. Unfortunately, as much as I like caffeine and coffee, for those of us who have a history of pregnancy loss, quitting caffeine can be a big move in the right direction. Exercise is essential. And stress is another variable that we need to all consider and look at as a variable that needs to be managed, especially right now. I lost my feed. Give me 1 second. Okay, good. And then sleep. I talk about this often. Most of us don't get enough sleep. What are your sleeping habits? What are your routine? What time are you going to bed? We need to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And we want that to be in a good time frame, and we want it to be restful and rejuvenating. This is where your body starts to heal, okay? So we need to be mindful of that. And then number 7, follow a fertility plan. Are your doctors helping you understand what can be done to empower you, right? Do you need help creating a clear map to follow? And do you know what can be done to empower the areas we just covered? So if you start to go through all of these things and you start to know, well, okay, I need help there and that's off, and I need to look deeper here, here, and here. Do you have anyone who is helping you guide you through that process to not only figure out what's going on, but also create a plan? You need to ask for guidance. You don't have to do this alone. And in the previous 6 steps, we have been talking about some of these areas that need to be reviewed so that we can get a better understanding for that. But there's more than just these key areas, right? So I checked off the areas that we talked about. This is my fertility wheel. There's 12 areas here. I talked about 6, right? We talked about toxins, sleep, diet, stress, environment, and mind body. But look at the other areas: exercise, hormone regulation and balance, your digestive system, if it's functioning properly. Often this is a key one that's often overlooked and ignored. So many couples that I'm coaching, this is the key thing. Cleaning up their digestive system, making sure that it's functioning properly, that they have healthy balance of bacteria. There's no bad bacteria or parasites or yeast. Like, this is a big variable for many women. Are there any structural issues? Autoimmune factors? We kind of talked about that one actually, as we talked about the potential causes for miscarriage, and then inflammation as well. So if you're just getting started implementing the recommendations on this training, that's a great start. But don't be overwhelmed. It's a lot of information. Start with implementing just one thing that you've learned today. But to be clear, that's just the tip of the iceberg, okay? If you've had 1 or more miscarriages, talk with us before you try again, because we want to help you get answers so that you don't go through that again. Don't know where to start? Well, being your own fertility detective is possible, and you have many tools to get started with the information that I just gave you here. But what might happen is that focusing on all of this, you forget about the most important thing, which is really enjoying life, enjoying your relationship with your partner, and relaxing, right? So there are 2 ways that you can approach this. The hard way is that, which is, basically spending a lot of hours researching on Google, watching many of my videos, taking the information we show you here, and you become your own fertility detective to figure it out on your own about what's not letting you, and then you can create your own plan, which may be doable for some, but also difficult for others. The more easy way to do it is to allow me and my team to help you. We're here for you. And so to do that, you can apply to qualify for a discovery call to see if we can help you. And part of that plan, or what's included there, is you'll have a personal fertility plan created for you, following what has helped many others become moms, also getting the right supplements, the right ones you need, and not just what everybody or Dr. Google tells you need. You also have the adequate testing you need to avoid wasting money and time, which is often what ends up happening, and getting the guidance on the lifestyle that you need to have for a healthy pregnancy. So this is key. If you decide to take the fast route and decide to work with us, then nothing's held back, no steps are missed. All you need is to follow our lead and commit to the fertility plan that we create for you, and lean on us for support. We're on a mission to help you get pregnant, to help all these couples around the world get pregnant and remove the headaches and the heartaches after all the negatives and potentially losses. And that's what these women did on their own. They reached out to us so that we can support them during their pregnancy. And again, you can find all of these on my website at marcsklar.com if you want to check them out and listen to their stories in more detail. The biggest issue we see with women trying to conceive or having miscarriages is that they don't know what they are doing wrong and how to fix it, right? Or they've just been told that they need to do IVF because naturally is not working for them. If your issue is a miscarriage, how is IVF going to help you with that? Unless it's a genetic issue and you're going to do the genetic testing to get around that. But even then, that doesn't always help. But they haven't really looked for answers for the reason why they are not getting pregnant or having any miscarriage after, or having a miscarriage after another, right? Finding the missing key is what's going to help you get pregnant and stay pregnant and carry a healthy pregnancy. So just taking the right supplements potentially won't fix the issue, or just eating the right diet potentially won't fix the issue. But just because the labs you've done look fine doesn't mean that everything is working fine, or that you've done all the testing to look at all the systems to know what's going on. So the reason the Hope Fertility Program always starts with a personal assessment with one of us, either me or Lonika right now, is that together we review it all, right? All your information, your nutrition, your lifestyle habits, environmental toxins, lab work, hormones, thyroid, stress, work, environment, exercise patterns, vitamin levels. This is a 360-degree approach to your fertility. And we need to find out your why, right? Why is this happening to you, so we can get a better understanding for what's not working and create a plan around that. These are just 3 examples of one page of a plan that can be upwards of 5 or 6 pages. And you can see just the detail in terms of the supplements that get listed out and how we might approach that, breaking it down into different systems and areas of need. And we've seen here some of the many couples who we've helped get pregnant. Many who were misdiagnosed as unexplained, many who had suffered multiple miscarriages, women from all over the world doing IVF, trying naturally, same-sex, traditional couples, single moms. They did not take no for an answer because they had a dream of being a mom. And so they moved forward, and they didn't listen to those doctors who said you can't do it or you only need to do it with IVF. That's all of these women right here on this page right here, right? So having a fertility coach, have you worked with a business coach, a personal trainer, a tutor, a life coach, a psychologist? This is the same. We're here to coach you through your process, to help guide you, and to be a support that you can lean on when you need help, and to pick you up and push you forward. Are you going to be our next mom? We like working with the right couples, and that I know are a good fit and are ready to take control of their health, ready to make the necessary changes to have a healthy and successful pregnancy. Being a good fit is absolutely crucial for me and my team, as we need to make sure you're dedicated to you, because we're dedicating our time to helping you, right? We want to make sure that you're also invested in it as well. We're 1,000% invested in helping you, and we want to make sure that you're invested in yourself and you're committed to the process as well, because we want to add you to our baby wall, right? We want to make you part of our successes. So here's how the process works. Regardless of what you're looking for, the type of couple you are or individual, if you're trying naturally or through IUI or IVF, if you're ready to make changes to become as healthy as you can, and you want a clear plan to follow, then this is the right program for you. It's not for you if you're not willing to invest in your health and your fertility. If you're looking for a magic pill, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, then it's definitely not for you, because there's no such thing as a magic pill. And people who don't believe they can get pregnant and have lost hope, you need to restore that piece first, okay? Or if you're just stuck working with Dr. Google. Are you ready to be a mom? Really, there's no hard feelings if you're not. It's quite all right. I don't take it personally. If you want help getting pregnant, and most importantly, have a healthy baby, then over the next 5 days, my team and I have set aside time to talk to you to see if we can help you, okay? We've opened it up to 10 spots. We have limited time, but we're 10,000% committed to our patients and to you, and we want to make sure that you're committed to this process as well, which is why we do this. If you've been watching this long, then absolutely you're committed to the process and you're ready to get started. And by looking at what I'm seeing down here on my screen below, I can see there's so many of you that are ready to jump in and get started. So I love that, okay? This is where we really begin working to figure out what you need to do to get pregnant, and how to make it happen in the fastest time possible, and most importantly, in the healthiest way possible, the most natural if we can. You can apply to sign up to work with us at marksklar.com/discovery call. My assistant's gonna put that into the chat box as well if you need that there. And here's how it works. Apply to qualify for discovery call with my case manager by completing that form at marksklar.com/discovery call. If you qualify, she'll contact you and we'll have a conversation to see if you're a good candidate for the program. to make sure that we can enroll you in it. And then once you enroll, Lonika or myself will have a consultation with you where we'll review your case in depth and create a fertility plan just for you, a private call with you. And after that, we'll have an accountability group call once a month to make sure that you're following the plan and to check in on you, make some tweaks to the process, really adjust your thing, but we do that in a group setting. Again, 10 spots are open. And often a question that gets asked is there a difference between working with me or Lonika? And the answer is 100% none, zero. Actually, in some ways, working with her might be a little bit better because you get her and you get me because we review most of our cases and we lean on each other. So you really shouldn't feel like there's anything different about working with her or with me. It's really about what's the right fit for you, okay? And again, if you've been trying for 6+ months, if you've had one or more miscarriage, this is the time to take action, to really start to set up a call with us by going to marksklar.com/discovery call. Use the link in the chat box. And if you're watching on YouTube, just click on that button below the video on the same page, and that will take you to that, okay? But let's not keep wasting your time. Let's improve your fertility. Let's take action now, just like all of these women did, because we want the same results for all of you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Give me 1 second here, because I want to answer your questions now. Okay? So post your questions. I want to get to them. I want to answer all of them to support you. Now, I'm going to do my best to answer all of them. I know we're running up against the clock because it's almost an hour. I'm going to go a little bit over so I can answer some, make sure I answer as many as I can, but I can't go too long because I've got other things scheduled after this. So, okay, I'm going to go, let me scroll up just a little bit here and see. Okay, so where did it go? I was just about to answer Lulu's. So Lulu says, I had 3 FETs and 2 natural pregnancies, all ended up with miscarriage, and there was 1 ectopic. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lulu. I don't see a question there, though, but it's really unfortunate, which goes to show you that IVF doesn't necessarily fix the answer, right? Jean says, I might do it from down here because it's hard. It keeps moving, so let me see here. Where was it? I saw Jean's a second ago. Should I be a vegan so I can get pregnant? No, there's no one size fits all in terms of diet. It has to be created for you based on your needs and your findings. So I wouldn't say that right now, and I often don't recommend being a vegan. Let's see. Okay. After ectopic pregnancy, you should get pregnant because I've seen a lady who had it and months later I'm not sure what the question is there. Those nonstick pans, they sell everywhere, but they're not good for us. Correct. The nonstick pans are made full of chemicals and toxins, which is how they get the food not to stick. And now those chemicals and toxins have leached into the food, and now you're ingesting them, right? None of that sounds normal. Exactly. Okay. Jean says, is 49 too old? There's a lot of variables in that is hard for me to answer, but what I can tell you is it's going to be much harder at 49 to get pregnant and hold a pregnancy for sure, right? Let's see here. Jackie says, I'm so excited to have a call with your team this coming week. Awesome, Jackie. I look forward to that. And Rebecca says, okay, so hi, my AMH levels are low and low egg quality at the age of 38. Please advise on this. It's hard for me to advise on this without looking at the bigger picture. I can tell you that egg quality can be improved. And there are a lot of things that you can do about that. Let's see here. Lulu just said her recent miscarriage was 2 months ago, which is unfortunate. Rachel says or asks, I've had 2 back-to-back miscarriages and have completed all the recurrent miscarriage tests you talk about. Awesome. You say there's a reason, but all mine and Hub's testings came back normal. You really don't believe in just 2 bad luck? Rachel, it's hard. I mean, could it happen? Absolutely, it could happen. I can't say no. And certainly without looking at the full picture, it's hard for me to say. But I just can tell you that I often just find a cause. You know, that cause could be stress. That cause could be digestive issues. Like I was talking about in the presentation, often you could have a cause that is a factor for causing a miscarriage, but it might not be one of the main factors that I listed, like autoimmune issues or blood clotting or anything like that it seems like you had testing on. But you could have digestive issues that need to be addressed. There could be huge amounts of stress. There's other chemical toxins. There's other variables that can play a role that could be contributing factors to this and could be involved in that. I do see often. For low egg quality, you should eat Fertility to boost what? Your egg. Take more. Okay. That's not a question. I'm ANA positive with Sjogren's autoimmune. Should I follow this diet? I would. I absolutely would follow this diet. Now, again, just because I say you should follow this diet, it doesn't mean that exactly this diet might be the right thing for you. You might have to adjust it for yourself, but it's a place to start. Let's see. Melina says, I struggled to get pregnant for 21 years, started keto, got our big fat positive, May 2019, and miscarried. It's awful. And fell pregnant again a month later, turned into an ectopic ruptured tube. Oh, sweetheart, you've been through so much. And now I'm 44. Is pregnancy even possible? But my husband also has NF1. Look, it's possible. It's just going to be harder right now with everything you've been through. And, you know, so it just takes looking at everything to get a better understanding for what's going on. But I can't say it's not possible. I've worked with plenty of couples who have. Where was it? I just had sorry, it skipped and I was trying to ask somebody's question here. Where did it go? Can there be a miscarriage in the first 4 weeks? How do you tell the difference between that and my period? It's really hard, actually. It can, but it's difficult to know. It's difficult to know. Can high cortisol levels cause a miscarriage? High cortisol levels can cause is a stress issue, is an adrenal issue, and your adrenal glands can cause a huge issue on your pituitary function and your other hormones. So that can be a contributing factor for sure in my book. Let's see, I've got enough time to answer a couple more questions. So let's see what we can get through. Is the keto diet okay for fertility? This is a great question because I get asked it all the time. The keto diet is okay, but it's probably not okay for all 190 of you watching this video, right? Live right now, because you all need something different. So, and that keto diet doesn't mean that it has to be done the exact same way every time. So we do have to look at that, but it may be okay. Someone says, my question is, how can I make it back to get pregnant women because I have the pre-miscarriage and I want to? I didn't understand the question, Minetta. Let's see. Can there be a miscarriage in the first 4 weeks? Oh, no, I already asked that one. And so, is there a lot of success staying pregnant with PCOS and MTHFR? I've had 3 early losses. That can, as long as that's treated properly, as long as the PCOS is managed and treated properly, and the MTHFR as well, then yes, it can. Victoria asks, what do you think about the keto diet? Okay, I think I just answered that question. Is it true that if you donate blood constantly, let's say every 8 months or every year, that you can become infertile? I've never heard that or seen it. I don't know what that is about. Rebecca asks, is pre-seed lubricant okay to use? Pre-seed is okay, but it has parabens, which are toxins. I prefer Baby Dance because it is chemical-free, toxin-free. So that's the one I recommend. Where was it? Okay, so Brittany says, I'm currently 5 weeks pregnant with low BMI, history of low TSH, but since becoming pregnant, it went to 0.53. T3 and T4 were always normal, even before falling pregnant. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, Brittany. That's awesome. Congratulations. And then Sarika says, I'm ANA positive. Should I be worried? It just needs to, ANA doesn't tell you exactly what's going on. It just says that there's an immune issue. We need to look deeper at that. Let's see here. What happened? It keeps moving. How can endometriosis increase miscarriage? It can, and it should be addressed properly. Let's see here. I have adenomyosis. How can I have successful pregnancy? I already had 3 miscarriages. Really, if you haven't spent time to treat the adenomyosis and reduce the inflammation and infection, then it's going to be hard, and that's what needs to happen first. I'm going to answer one more question, everybody, okay? How successful are immunological treatments? They can be very successful, right? But there's multiple factors and types. And so really, I like to approach it from a more comprehensive and natural approach. We want to make sure that our lifestyle, our diet, our sleep are being managed properly so that our immune system doesn't have to work as hard. And then those other treatments can really support it really, really well. All right, everybody. Hopefully you all found this useful. I want to see you all sign up. I'd love to support you. If you think this is the right program for you, go to marksklar.com/miscarriage. If you're watching on my watch page, just click that button so that you can apply. And I really appreciate all of you sticking through to the end to be here to watch all of this. If you haven't already registered for the workbook, then you should do that as well. And you can do that at marksklar.com/miscarriage. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend. I appreciate all of you. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay fertile. I'll see you in the next video.